in the middle of an at-bat, someone stole third and the catcher threw it and it hit me in the helmet, like straight out of her hand, right into my helmet.
How'd that feel? I caught a softball, like a pop fly with my face, and then my dad made me wear my like pitcher's mask in the outfield for the rest of the tournament. I was so embarrassed.
Those 2 years of having the time to like go in and work on what I needed to work on, like really helped me in the long run.
What would you say, like, as a college athlete, like you could get through it? What's your word of advice?
Yeah. So obviously, like, it is worth it if that's truly what you want to do. Like, it is worth it, all the work you put in. And in terms of like finding the right team, you can, even if you're on a bad team, you can still get better and still improve.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Next Gen podcast. Today we are here with our second try on this episode. We are here with my old throwing partner, like a little throwback today for me, a little sentimental. But we're here today with Stella Harber, who is now a college softball player. I did not make it to that level, but we just want to talk about how she got there. And like I said, it'll be a little extra fun for me because, I mean, I was there sometimes. So Stella, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Let's start off with some quick questions just to get into it, and then we'll dig into all the things, into the firecrackers, into ABA. It's gonna be a fun little story time today. But
Okay.
so these questions, if there is no wrong answer, I'll only judge you a little bit. Just give me your like gut thought. Okay. What is your lucky number?
3.
Why?
I don't know. It's just always been 3.
Okay, fair enough. I don't remember. You always were
No
like
reasoning.
27, I feel like, in high school and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's because one day on the firecrackers, we had to pick our numbers and someone already picked 3, and we just learned how to like cube numbers. So 3 cubed is 27.
So you're like
So
really
that's where that
smart,
came from.
essentially. Like that was.
Basically.
I would have
No,
been like,
just
okay,
kidding,
so I'll
but
take 4. Okay, what do you think your most embarrassing moment as an athlete has been?
oh, that's so good. Um, Embarrassing, funny. I don't know if you were there, but there was one game on AFA. I was standing in the box and in the middle of an at bat, someone stole third and the catcher threw it and it hit me in the helmet, like straight out of her hand, right into my
Dang.
helmet.
How'd that feel?
It felt amazing, especially I think I just got my doubles or my triples pierced or something that day, or not that day, but recently.
Right.
So it's a little rough on the ears, but
Fun. I like literally thought of that question because I don't know if you remember this, but like right when we got to ABA, or it might have even been still with Brian, whatever his team was called. Embarrassing.
yeah.
I caught a softball, like a pop fly with my face, and then my dad made me wear my like pitcher's mask
Uh-huh.
in the outfield for the rest of the tournament. I was so
Ooh,
embarrassed. I was like,
it's
oh
okay.
well, it's okay. The sun was in my face. That's my excuse
Yeah,
that I will be sticking to.
that's valid.
Uh-huh. Okay. What coach do you think has been the biggest influence on your softball career?
Oh, that is so hard. I've had like so many good coaches. I would probably, this is kind of a cheesy answer, but honestly, Coach Bowles, because that's when I first started like doing extra softball stuff and not like
Right.
hating it, like I actually wanted to do more.
Mhm.
So, yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to pick, but I would say that's kind of where my path changed,
It wasn't your dad?
was no. Sorry, Steve.
Iconic,
I
most
mean,
iconic softball coach, I think.
yeah.
Little
Yeah,
visor
pretty
action.
pretty iconic. Yeah, he loved the visor action.
What softball coach doesn't love a good visor? I
Yeah, that's
mean,
so true.
yeah.
That's so true.
Um, what is your biggest softball superstition?
Oh, I have too many. Recently, um, I went through like an eye black phase this past year. Um, couldn't play without the eye black.
Obviously.
But I think my most like normal, regular one is I have this necklace that my parents gave me this past year, and it has my number on it. Um, and so I wear that, like, for games and only games.
I like it.
So, I think that's
Um,
my biggest one.
do you prefer being in the field or when your team's up at bat?
I I don't know. I like defense more, but also the vibes of, like, the dugout, you know? I
Right.
like that. So if I had to pick, I would probably say I like hitting.
Okay. All right, I like that. So now that we're kind of into it, let's go back all the way to day one. So I'm assuming the Firecrackers was your first team?
I think
Probably.
so.
How old do you think we were when that team started up? Like 5?
I don't even know, probably 5 or 6?
Mhm. What do you remember from kinda do a little, like, compare and contrast almost, which sounds
Okay.
really, really silly, but what do you remember those practices being like and those drills that we did opposed to, like, now the kinda stuff that you would do to practice?
Okay, honestly, I hate to say this because I remember in the moment hating it, and I was, like, telling my dad, like, "This is so dumb." But
Mhm.
it's actually pretty similar, especially the beginning of practice, like, I've probably been doing the same thing at the beginning of a practice today as I was, like, when I was 6, you know?
Right.
Well, maybe not 6, but maybe a little older, like
I
glove
don't
work and
remember
stuff,
what we
but
did at those practices, like, at
probably
all.
literally played catch for, like, an hour straight. Like
Probably. I remember that one drill, which was always my least favorite, was, like, the one where they'll have 2 lines of infielders, and it's, like, one kind of at second and one at short,
mhm.
and it's, like, the cross one, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hated that one, it just stressed me out. I was like, "One person's gonna throw a bat, it's gonna mess everything up, I can't handle it."
yeah.
But, um, growing up, you played volleyball, you did, like, track and cross country, basketball, soccer, softball, obviously. How'd
Mhm.
you narrow it down and stick with just softball?
Well, for a while, I think I just stuck with softball because there was a period there where, like, every year you got to, like, unlock something new, you know? So, like, "Oh, next year you can steal, or you can lead off,
Right.
or you can do something different." So I was like, "Well, I have to, try that out." And then I was like, "Well," I knew my dad enjoyed coaching, so I kinda kept playing a little for that, but softball was always my least favorite.
Same. I don't
Um,
know why.
yeah. Up until probably 8th grade,
Mhm.
7th or 8th grade, I started to like it more. Um,
Why is that?
uh, well, after leaving Brian's team, I
Mhm.
think going to AFA, uh, having Coach Bowles, and then also a lot of I got really close with a lot of those girls, you know?
Mhm.
So I couldn't imagine, like, not playing and then not seeing them. So that kept me in it for a while, and then next thing I knew, I was down to softball and volleyball just was not the move, so
Didn't you play for North? Or am I
yeah.
just making that up? Okay,
I
how
played,
long
like, 2 years, I think, my freshman and sophomore year.
so post Firecrackers, how I remember it is everyone was going to play competitive soccer. And I was
Mhm.
like, "I kinda did that," but and then my parents were like, "Well, do you wanna keep playing softball? Do you wanna try out for competitive?" And I was like, "I don't know." And they're just kinda like, "Oh, well, Stella's doing this. Do you wanna just follow her?" And I was like, "Yep, that sounds good to me."
Uh-huh.
Um, your first moments as a competitive player, right? Like, with Brian, it was a shit show. Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I know you know what I mean, but I don't know how to describe it for anyone else listening, that we were not in a good team, and not good as in,
No.
like, skill-wise, as in, like, organizationally and morally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he would go sit and smoke cigarettes in the outfield while we were playing.
Yeah.
Who allowed that? Who allowed their, like, 10, 12-year-old daughter to be around this?
Yeah, I don't know, but all I remember is when we tried out for that team, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome, like, this is so fun."
Yeah,
Like,
same.
no red flags. I was
No.
seeing no red flags.
I think we were too far into it and, like, too deep that we were like, "Well, we're stuck here for a full, like,
Yeah.
365 days."
Yeah.
And then what made your decision to go to ABA? Like what or AFA?
I don't even actually like, I have no idea how I ended up there. I can't remember.
I don't either. I think I
I
blacked
think
out a lot of that.
I think my dad was like, "We need to find a new team."
Mhm.
And then I wanna say I went to a practice, like an indoor practice at the
Okay.
old facility, like the old
Right.
ABA, and I think it was just like a random someone actually I don't know if this was there was one night I went from, like, Patriots to ABA, and my dad found this napkin, like, in his like, tucked into his windshield wiper,
Uh-huh.
and it said, like, "Don't go to ABA," like, they have their priorities, like, wrong or something, I don't know, we still have the napkin somewhere, but it was like, "Don't go to ABA," and he thinks that it was Brian.
Oh, it was totally Brian.
So,
I would do, like, one-on-one hitting lessons with him, and that's also problematic.
yeah,
Like, he would invite me to his house.
that's strange.
Drama. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
also with going to ABA, I think it was same thing and my dad being like, "Well, Stella's leaving, do you wanna just follow her again?" And I was like, "No, shit, I'll do that." And then ended up on different teams. Um, wow, this I will say this is a very different episode than I've ever done because usually it's me more asking people about things that I don't know, and this I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Please also sympathize with me." Like, it feels like
Yeah,
it's like we're trauma bonded.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
don't can't explain it.
it was rough.
Right. Um, Going from a well-organized establishment like ABA to high school ball, we lost our coach in the first, like, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
We just really were we both kept sticking with it, but I don't know why.
I
I mean,
don't
it worked
know.
out, but,
I don't know.
um, you only played freshman and senior year. What made you decide sophomore, junior year to just stick with ABA, like, 24/7?
Well, sophomore year freshman year, it was just a mess, like, the day that our coach changed, I was coming from a volleyball tournament, and so I think we had a game or practice or something, but I had texted her and been like, "Hey, I'm on my way," and I was downtown, like, at the convention center, and she just never responded, and I was like, that's weird," and then that's when I found out when I got there, but
At the
that was a
game?
mess. No, at like, I don't know what was supposed to be that day, but I think we ended up having, like, a meeting.
Oh, yeah, with the AD.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, um,
I don't know.
but anyways, that I think I was just I would just rather have gotten better on my own than gone and played. Now I kind of wish I had done it differently, but I do think, like, those 2 years of having the time to, like, go in and work on what I needed to work on, like, really helped me in the long run, but,
What made you decide to come back for senior year?
um, just, like, the chance to play for the school, and my parents really wanted me to play, and, like, yeah, I don't know.
I think it was fun. I
It
mean,
was fun, like, I did enjoy it, and I got to, like, meet some more people at the school. I feel like I didn't really branch out much, but got to meet some cool people, so that was fun.
right. Um, Obviously all that's in the past. I don't wanna, like, hate talk softball too much because obviously we both love it.
Yeah.
Now, being a college athlete, I know this answer, but, like, is it worth it? Like, putting all the effort, missing a bunch of stuff, doing both at the same time. What would you say for someone who's, like, struggling with finding their right team, finding, maybe it's that they wanna move up in the ranks and be a starter, what would you say, like, as a college athlete, like, you could get through it? What's your word of advice?
Yeah. So, obviously, like, it is worth it if that's truly what you wanna do, like, it is worth it, all the work you put in, and in terms of, like, finding the right team, you can even if you're on a bad team, you can still get better and still improve, and a lot of the work to make yourself better is done outside of practice anyways, so, you know, getting on a good team is important, but it's not everything. Um, And recruiting wise, a lot of it is more who you know, like the connections a team will bring you, as opposed to if you're going out and winning every single tournament every weekend, you know?
What was your recruitment process like?
So mine was a little different. I was on the email grind, sending all the emails I could all the time. Not much came out of that. I went to a few camps, and this was all right after I started the recruiting process was COVID.
Right, of course.
So, which I'm sure like everyone else you've talked to obviously dealt with that too.
Matter in the
So,
age, yeah.
obviously ended up at KCK, so went the JUCO route, which isn't uncommon, I would say, for softball and baseball
Right.
especially. Um, but yeah, then had to go through the recruiting process again, hopped back on the email grind, and then my coach at KCK actually had a connection to my coach here at Augie, so that's
What
how that worked
was
out.
your community college life like? I mean, going from Blue Valley North to a community college, like, did the amount of credits that you came in with change your, ability to play or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I loved JUCO. The classes, definitely did not really benefit me much academically, especially coming from Blue Valley North, where like I feel like it was definitely a challenge, and then that prepared me very well for JUCO classes, and then now I feel like my classes here, I was prepared more even through North than I was like the first 2 years of college classes at KCK.
Mm,
But yeah, I feel like I was very prepared. So,
got you where you wanted to go.
yeah,
So,
it worked out.
um, how do you think the rest of your college career is going to look with softball? You have one more season of eligibility, right?
Yeah, so I have this year and next year.
Okay.
So, I'll yeah, hopefully play this year, play next year, and then I wanna go to PA school after that, so we'll see how that works out, but, um, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this season a lot. Uh,
You guys came off of a really, really competitive season. I was looking into some notes and it was like your coach was named in FCA D2 Regional Coaching Staff of the Year. I mean, you were D2 Regional champs, 30 wins in a row. Um, what does that mean that your season is going to look like this year?
um, I mean, it's a new year, but even I think the freshmen coming in have a good understanding of, like, our expectations, and last year we were so successful. We're playing for a great coaching staff, playing for a great school. And so I think it really helps to keep the expectations high and like, yeah, you can say you want to work hard, you want to make it far into postseason, but like you actually have to put in the work to do that. And that's what we did last year. And hopefully can do it again this year.
What pushes you to put in the work every single day to get better?
Um, I would say just thinking of the feeling when we went to the Natty last year, the feeling of stepping off the field after we lost, like that,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Why is that?
every time. I don't know, it just leaves like a bad taste in my mouth and the rest of the team too, I'm sure. So like anything we can do to be walking off the field not in tears but holding up a trophy, that's like anything I can do to get us there, I'm going to do it.
How has your team become your support system?
Um That's a good question. I feel like our team is very academically and athletically motivated, and we all have very similar like interests and like levels of drive and competitiveness. And so, because we're so like minded, just having conversations saying, like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed, like, I feel like I'm not putting in enough work, even though we know we all are. Sometimes it just takes someone else to be like, hey, like, you're doing all of this, like, you're doing everything you can, and that's enough, and that's gonna help us, you know?
How do you think being just in general a team player has what life lessons has that brought you?
Oh, it's brought me, like, an insane amount of life lessons, I feel um, like, just knowing being part of a team, like, you know this too, being a part of a team your whole life, like, you're always thinking about other people and you're always thinking about your teammates, and it just goes to show that there's a bigger picture and that just because, oh, like, I made an error, like, my team has my back, we'll get the next one, and vice versa, if someone else makes an error, then kind of bearing that weight and being like, "Okay, I need to step up and, like, produce," you know?
What do you think your after college softball life will look like, when it comes to softball? Will you still be a fan? How will you do that post being a college athlete?
I don't know. I haven't even it's, like, hard to think about my life without softball and, like
Mhm.
but obviously, I'm hoping on starting PA school right after, like, probably the summer after softball ends, so I won't have much time of nothing to do, and that's, like, another pretty much full-time thing, so I don't think right away I'll be doing much softball-wise, like, obviously, I'll be keeping up with everyone, but I don't really have plans of, like, coaching or, anything like that right away, but,
Think one day you would wanna coach?
yeah, I don't know that I'd wanna coach unless I have, like, kids playing, you know?
Mhm.
It just the more I, like, see what goes into it, I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know."
Yeah, I don't
But
my dad has been Michael's coach, my little brother's coach, for,
yeah,
13 years, and
yeah,
just, gave him over to Towns and wants to start coaching his own team at ABA, and I'm like, "I don't take a break, man. You've been
yeah,
doing this." But that's the kind of, mentality that coaches have is just
uh-huh,
how many people can I, help achieve their
yeah,
goals. So when you are back in Kansas City or, it is in the off season, how do you maintain your athletic schedule and stay in shape and stay in the softball mode even if it isn't, I mean, softball season really never truly does end, but
yeah. Well, luckily, I can still go to ABA, and so I go there a lot in the summers. We have, like, summer lifting cards, so I'll lift at home. Uh, I play catch with my dad a lot in the summer.
nice. Yeah.
Um,
Coach
sometimes we'll
Steve
go to
is not
that
getting the
yeah,
he's not retired
sometimes
yet.
we'll go to the OTMS field, we're used to practice sometimes, and he'll hit me some grounders and just work on, like, whatever I'm working on for the summer. Like, this past summer, my goal was to fix my throw, so that just was playing a lot of catch, but yeah,
When
so
you do have one of those goals, like to fix your catch or to change your swing or something, how do you besides for just going out there and practicing it, because at that point, it's like muscle memory. You're probably doing the same thing over and over. How do you,
right.
forcefully say, "Okay, we're gonna do something physically different?"
There's a lot of our coaches give us a lot of drills to focus on, like, small, kind of tedious things that you can't really just say, "Okay, I'm gonna work on this when I am hitting tee or front toss or whatever." So, like, we have a lot of tee drills that I'll work on, and just working on something small for a while and then not moving on until, like, that issue is fixed, and it's like, "Okay, that's fixed, what else can I work on?" Because a lot of the stuff at this point, it's just small tweaks. So,
What do you think would be your, strong suit? Like, if you playing softball could just if you could say, "Okay, I can
mhm.
only pitch, I can only play short, I can only hit, I can only steal bases." What's, the one thing that you enjoy the most and think you're, the most talented at?
I don't know, probably I would say turning double plays in the middle infield.
That's also the best feeling.
Yeah, because that was one thing at ABA we worked on all the time. We were always
All
doing
the
rounding
time.
razzle,
That, the
always
little leadoff drill.
yeah,
When you'd say the different letters, that, messed me up so bad. I was like, "I could do it my own way," but doing it your way with the letters just did not work. I don't know
yeah.
why. What have been your I mean, we all know that being part of a team, the best part of it isn't necessarily the sport, but it's the people around you. How
Mhm.
do you think your teammates have changed your enjoyment of softball? And what are your favorite moments and memories, surround playing, with your teammates that, might not be on the field?
Yeah. My favorite, like, on the field memory with my teammates was winning supers, and then just, like, taking pictures and stuff after, but I have to say off the field, like, our team right now is really, like, family oriented, so when we travel, we have a lot of parents come, and so just hanging out, like, around the hotel pool or doing whatever with the parents, and they have a lot of, like, little grill outs or potluck kind of things, so I really enjoy that, um, and then other stuff with teammates, like eating at the commons, like, in our little dining hall area, like, that's just the best after a long day, like, you have so much homework, but you just take, like, 30 minutes to eat with your team, like, it's just so nice.
Being a little farther away from home, how first of all, what is South Dakota even like? I don't know anything about South Dakota, but what what I don't even know where I'm going with this. What is South Dakota like? Let's just start there.
It's it's a little colder than home. It's, like, constantly, like, about 10 degrees colder. It's very windy.
Okay.
Um,
How does that change the game at all?
we have a lot of, like, site reversals where our school's, like, the second furthest south in our
Oh,
conference or, like, one of the furthest south schools. So, sometimes people will come play here, like, if we're supposed to go up north and the weather's bad, they can come here, or we played some, games in domes last year. So that was really interesting because 'cause I've never played in a dome ever.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was that like? Why was it different?
Um, the it's not last year it wasn't really much of an advantage to our team because we had a few balls that would have gone out, but they hit the dome, they hit the top, and then I think it was like a foul ball, like,
That sucks.
so the fences are shorter, the turf is slippery, like,
Mhm.
it's like soccer turf, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, it's still the same game, obviously, but you just have to kind of zone out all the differences, you know?
Yeah. Would you rather play on turf or regular grass?
Turf. I've been playing
Really?
on turf now the past 4 years, and,
I
like,
hate
I
it.
just love it.
Okay, so why? Like, why what is your thing against dirt?
I guess I don't have anything against dirt, but turf, it's just so much easier, like, on my knees. I can wear turf shoes.
That's
Like,
fair.
it's better on the body. I do love, like, dirt,
Being
but
dirty, yeah.
really these cold like, all of our games are cold. So, you dive and you're just diving on, like, frozen ground, you
Right.
know? Whereas turf, you get a little more give.
Cushion. That's true. I just remember, like, my dad always saying, like, if you leave a softball game and your, like, pants aren't dirty, then, like,
Mhm.
you didn't play hard enough.
Yeah.
And turf always made me be like, like, there's a
Yeah.
like, a cop out, like, no now no one knows how hard I played.
Yeah.
I this is random. Do you remember that one practice at North where it was, like, so muddy that we, like, made it a game to see who could get the muddiest and we're, like,
Yeah.
hitting against the fence? I don't know, that was just, like, popped in my head.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that
do
kinda
remember
stuff,
that.
I once I had to start cleaning my uniform, did not
Y
enjoy, but it's like the little kid in me still really enjoyed it, so,
right.
um, I think that's about all I have. Do you have anything, I guess, that you wanna say if you were to talk to, a young softball player, what advice would you give them of if they wanting to be a college athlete?
Yeah. I would just say find the love in the game, like, you need to love this game to play at a high level because of how much work it requires, so, like, whatever you're doing, make sure you love it and, like, nurture that love, you know? Like, do the things in the game that you enjoy to do while also working on the things you need to work on.
What do you do if you're having one of those days where you're like, like, I'm not feeling it today. I just, like, didn't do well at practice. I'm not feeling the love for the game." How do you, like, turn that around?
A lot of times I'll just go in and have, like, a feel good day, where I'm just trying to barrel up balls, like hit line drives if I'm working on hitting. Or I'll go in with my friends and just have like my teammates and have a fun, just have someone keeping me company so I'm not just all in my head. But also I just sometimes like I go in there, do terrible, feel like I'm getting worse for an hour, and then I just leave and literally don't even think about it until the next time, and then I just tell myself the next time will be better. It usually is.
Yeah, fair
So,
enough. The luck has to turn around eventually.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I think, Stella, thank you so much for coming on today. I think that is all the time we have for today. So, like usual, this episode is brought to you, lovely listeners, by Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sports Radio 810 is promoting the growth in the next generation of both athletes and young broadcasters. So, huge shout out there. Obviously, go check out any of our other social media sites, podcasts, the show every day on the station, or of course also that ESPN Kansas City side. And until then, or until next time, I think that is all that we have. So we will see you next week.